Hello everybody, just a quick video today. I don't have very much time, but I wanted to come back and share with you some interesting pieces that I found at the Don Scott Antique Show yesterday, which was Black Friday. I never do retail, I just don't. It's not my thing, but antiques and vintage are my things. And so I went down to the Don Scott Antique Show in Columbus at the fairgrounds. I've been going for approximately 17 years or 18 years, and I always have a fantastic time. And this was no exception. And went down early because I have a tendency to buy specific things that come out very early as dealers are setting up. So the dealers that are there are very aware that Friday is the day to sell to dealers rather than to retail people, consumers. So amongst the people that were there were notable and pretty famous collectors, and I had such a fantastic time, and I just wanted to show a couple of things that I purchased while I was there. The jewelry stuff, everything is bagged up and there's still tags on stuff, but this is just a pure video of how I find things or how they find me. And first things first, the last video that I did on the jewelry that I had found over about a 2-month period, I had this bracelet that I have on today. It's by William Spratling. And in the video, I said based on the hallmarks that are inside of the cuff, I thought that it was late 30s, early 40s. And I said that I would give additional information when I confirmed that information. And I came home and I found my Mexican silver hallmark book. This book is an absolute incredible guide to silver hallmarks that were Mexican and vintage. It's the Little Book of Mexican Silver Trade and Hallmarks by Billy Hugart. And Billy actually inscribed the book to me. So, on the inside, let's see if I can get it there out of the light. On the inside, don't know what's going on with my lighting today. On the inside right there, Billy inscribed the book to me. And it's the most incredible and very comprehensive book on the hallmarks. And I was correct by a shooting from the hip, if you will. Let's see here. I thought I, again, had the book marked where the Spratling section was. And, of course, the bookmark fell out. I don't know. I'm such a wreck sometimes. But under William Spratling, I was correct in the video by my Rolodex of information that's inside my mind. And in fact, the WS mark that is on the inside of the bracelet is right there. And it's marked appropriately with the 980 mark, like I said in the video, and then the conjoined WS, and then the Tosco mark. And oddly enough, it's dated from 1931 to 1945. So that is the earliest hallmark that William Spratling used. And this cuff definitely has that hallmark and is incredible. And I just wanted to make sure that I could bring that information to you to kind of close that information. So I wanted to prove that although sometimes I may not come up with the information right away exact, it's definitely really close. And again, this book is fantastic. So there's that. And then on the same thing, I wanted to share this book just really quick. It's the World Hallmarks, Volume 1. It's the gold, silver, platinum, and palladium hallmarks of Europe. I believe this book took the 3 authors approximately 10 or 15 years to construct. It is one of the most comprehensive books on the fine metals hallmarks from Europe. And it was by 3 artists, and Danusia, she inscribed the book to me on the inside, and it says, to Jason, happy Hallmark hunting, Danusia, and she is a fantastic person, and again, inscribed the book to me, and she's a delightful person, very smart, and all the authors in this book are brilliant, and it's a fantastic book. I believe that it's fairly expensive now because I think it's out of print, but again, it just goes into all of the different hallmarks. And what's beautiful about this book, it's divided by country in which the hallmarks were used. So it divides it up by country. And then there is kind of a loose guide in here, and I'm not sure exactly. Oh, here it is. There's a loose kind of a bookmark, and it gives the breakdown of the gold content, and then it also gives the breakdown of the hallmarks as like kind of a master list, and then you could look it up and kind of piece this together, because there's thousands of hallmarks in this book. So again, just fantastic. And I'm so glad that she inscribed this book to me. It's just fantastic to have an author signed book and inscribed to me. I love that. The things that I found at Don Scott were so varied. I could make this video be probably 2 hours. I'm not going to do that. Straight out of the car, I knew which dealers I was going to go to. And there's one specifically that does mainly gold and kind of estate jewelry. And boy, what a mess I have on my desk. But again, I didn't take tags off the stuff. From him, I purchased quite a few pieces. I purchased this incredible, very, very, very incredible turquoise pendant. I believe it to be Bisbee mine. Again, just got to give it a second to settle in on my mind, but I've only had these things for, what, 8 or 10 hours? And not really prepared to get into specifics, but a beautiful Native American made sterling silver and turquoise pendant. Just really, really cool. I loved that. That was an emotional buy. It was a yes right away. Then I bought this more contemporary stainless steel and 14 karat gold gentleman's cable bracelet. So we have 14 karat gold findings, 14 karat gold bands, and stainless steel. Really cool. It's Italian made. It's not designer signed, but it's just really beautiful. And I fell in love with that. From the same gentleman, here it is. A lucky find on this desk. And that's why the camera's not down, because it looks like Sanford & Son. There's just stuff piled up all over the place. So I've got this incredible citrine and 14 karat gold ring. It was made in 1967. It does have a very light hallmark on the inside of the person that produced it. And I'm going to have to do quite a bit of research to try and figure this out. The hand tooling and the detail is fantastic. Again, I'm not going to really dive into the jewelry because it's going to be very hard to show on camera. So I'll go back to my light box and I'll go camera down and I'll get really close up on some of these things. So don't get discouraged or upset with me or click off the video just yet. Give me a second. Tons more jewelry and then some unset stones. And here is a fire agate that was just windowed. So this is a fire agate that just the window was put onto the stone so that you could see what would be inside the stone once you polish it. And let's see, there we go. Look at that. That's just incredible. And it's just a windowed stone that needs to be finished. So again, a lapidary person just put a surface on this and then they would shape the stone eventually. I'm kind of thinking of leaving the stone just the way it is and mounting it just the way it is. So I'm thinking about that because I absolutely love it. It's perfect. And another thing that was just, I felt bad for it. It's a Christmas poinsettia. Look how sad it is in this tiny little wooden container. But I loved it. And so I had to have that. I don't know, it just struck me as amazing. And then on the same table, this was kind of forgotten about in the shuffle, is a little cloisonné Chinese sterling silver bird. And at first I thought it was just basically like a brass metal, like most of them are. 90% of them are normally brass. This one's actually in sterling silver, believe it or not. And on the very tail back here, it's marked silver. Right there. So it's got a silver hallmark on it and beautifully done. Carnelian gemstones inset in the wings and in the eyes, but just the detail on that is delightful. And that was $4. And I couldn't get the $4 out fast enough. That's for sure on that. Bags and bags and bags filled with jewelry stuff. Sterling, costume. There's some turquoise. There is a beautiful artist-made amethyst necklace. This is Barry Kelstein cord, and it's the tortoise and the hare, and again, tags all over stuff because I didn't undo things and I didn't inventory anything yet because it hasn't been long enough for me to get into it. I stopped at a pawn shop and I bought some diamond stud earrings, an Osh Grossbart inlaid 14 karat gold ring. And again, taking it to the light box to get you closer, just kind of giving you an overall. I did buy a ruby and gold ring and diamonds, just really beautiful. I'll take that to the light box. And then this one, I hope it's the amber pin that I bought. This video is totally a mess and I'm sorry for it. There is egg yolk amber, and just look at the artistry of this pin. Look at how amazing that thing is. I went absolutely crazy. I have one similar to it, but this one is slightly larger and the design is a little bit different. And then the pin back mechanism on the back of it, definitely from Poland. 100% from Poland. And I'll give you a close-up when I get that to the light box, but I wanted to show that really quick. Now, what I wanted to do the video for, after all that delay, were the objects that I found. And there is one total standout that I am so absolutely mad crazy over. And I almost lost sleep about it last night, but finally got 4 hours of sleep just because I was so keyed up. I felt like a kid on Christmas morning. I couldn't sleep last night. This is a beautiful paperweight with encased fish that are actually like a decal that are stuck inside of the glass, and beautifully done. It is artist signed, and again, not long enough to do some research, but there's the artist signature right there, and it's dated 1981. So really cool paperweight, and looked like the old Murano aquarium paperweights, and I love that thing. It's so cool. This, I didn't know what it was because I don't think the person knew what it was. It was just kind of all jumbled up on the table. I mean, it looked like a rat's nest of beads. I knew they were Czech glass beads. I knew it. And they are. They're from the Czech Republic. But when I unfurled it and straightened it all out after buying it for a measly $10, I realized that it's in an Art Deco, an original Art Deco headpiece. So it actually goes on like, let's see if I can straighten this out. These medallions would be on the side of the head, and this medallion comes down in the front of the head, and it's all Czechoslovakian glass beads. And then these larger stones are kind of sewn on as appliques, but it's completely hand sewn and completely hand beaded. And the elastic, or I should say, kind of what the elastic would have been that's now let go over time, no elastic left. It would sit on the head. I'll get a mannequin and I'll put it on there, but this is the back of it, and then this is the sides, each side. So you have the sides there, and then this is the front of it. I feel like I just felt like in grade school when we used to do that thing with the string and you get your fingers all tied up. So anyways, this is a joy, an absolute joy to have found for very little money. So I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And again, I'll get it on a mannequin head so we can see what that looks like. And then in that same booth, it was this. And these are just, I'm just, I'm getting sidetracked already. But these are just appliques of what appears to be iris glass. And they're very, very large. Extremely large. Each stone has 2 little holes drilled on either side. So it was just an applique. So it would have been sewn to a dress or a purse or a hat, but they're just little ornaments. But again, these were 50 cents for both of them, and they're gigantic. I mean, for iris glass, if that's what we want to call it, they're insane. They're insanely large and hand faceted. And incredible, absolutely incredible. So again, they probably would have been on one of these and then just sewn where the yellow one is. So it just would have been sewn in place and used as a trim. So those were fantastic. Tons more jewelry, just bags and bags and bags filled that are need to be processed. I need to clean things. This one was a small tray. I believe it to be Austrian or from Vienna, and bronze. So it's considered a vidi poche. And again, that is vidi poche basically means empty pockets. And this would have held anything from loose change coins, jewelry, cufflinks, keys, vanity items. So its only job was to hold things so they wouldn't get lost or misplaced. And I love these. I collect these. So this was kind of a personal buy, priced way appropriately, signed on the bottom there. And the finish is beautiful. So I was very happy to get that. Again, what an absolute disaster. Let me get that on the floor. Let me move this out of the way. And then this is a beautiful and stunning version of crystalline glaze. So as we know, I love crystalline glaze. And this one, a great example. It was only $40 and just remarkably well done. When you get into crystalline glaze, I'll talk about the technique that was used to get these crystals to grow on the pottery surface, and is signed on the bottom. Again, I don't know what is going on with this lighting today, but it's terrible. I should start the video over, but here I still am. And this is decorated basically 360 degrees. So incredible craft in terms of making the body of the vase or the vessel, and then even more beautiful to cover the surface in these teal crystals that look like frost on a window, look like rays underneath the ocean when the sunlight goes through, and then this kind of a saturated yellow but still earthy mustard, beautiful tone on that. And so that was a yes for me. That was an absolute yes. In the booth right next door, the gentleman had a linen on his table that he was only using for display. And I fell in love with it, and I said, is the linen for sale? And he said, no, it's not for sale. I'm just using it for display. And I said, well, if you were to sell it, would you let me know? And I started to walk out of the booth, and he said, you know what? He said, before it gets ruined or before someone completely trashes it, you can have it for $10. I was to the moon delighted. It's completely hand embroidered. It is on pure linen, and it's an arts and crafts original. Right from around 1905 to 1915. My best guess would be 1912, if we have to get specific. And I believe it's by, I'm guessing here, I believe it's by the Ericsson company that would produce these blank linens. They would stamp a design on it in the arts and crafts design, and then they would send women the kits back then with embroidery floss and also the linen with the stamping on it, and then they would sit at home and hand embroider these at the time. So incredible, incredible, incredible end result, and I couldn't be more happy to have that beautiful, beautiful, and it's a pillowcase, beautiful pillowcase for so little money. And back in the day when I was selling these on eBay, I would find them at area estate sales for very little money. I would sell them for between 100 and 300, depending on how complex they are. Haven't been in that world for a little while, so I would say that maybe they're down to, I would guess around $125. And maybe they're a little bit less, maybe they're still a little bit more, but that's my best guess on value on that. But I was so excited to actually be able to buy it. This is just a total wreck. It's all sterling silver spoons. I just went crazy because this person is into scrap and into metal value, and they kind of bypass the antique value on things. So this was what I wanted to save. There's some really outstanding ones. There are Unger, there are European, and 90% of what's in here is pre-1900 or right at the turn of the century. And again, all sterling, and some just beautiful and remarkable beautiful things. Some are souvenir spoons, and some are more serving spoons. All right, so there's that. And then this lady always makes me smile. Her name is Sandy. She's from the Cincinnati area, and she hand draws on her bags that she sells her items in. She's a fantastic and very whimsical personality that's always there. I've known her forever, and I fell in love with this dog clamper bracelet. It's carved out of wood, glass inset eyes, opens like that. So the dog's little feet kind of go underneath his head, and just an absolutely beautiful and handsome fellow with great personality. And I made sure that it fit, and it does. And I have a very large collection of vintage wooden pins and also bracelets. And I'll get into a video on that eventually because I probably have, I would say, in the top 10 collections of the United States in terms of carved wooden pieces, but I've been doing it since I was 11 to 12, I think was probably one of my first wooden pins. And I believe that it was given to me by my dad's mother, so my grandmother's wooden pin. On to trying to stay focused and, again, not lose anybody. Native American pottery, I have loved it for a very long time. Just incredible. Signed on the bottom. Still have my price tag on it. And anyways, you can see the signature there. Just a really, really incredible dynamic piece. This one probably dates from right around the 1930s, 1940s. At least that's, again, as close as I'm going to get just because I haven't spent enough time with it. And beautiful execution. And I got that for $15. I have normally been spending on that size. I've normally been spending between $100 and $125 or $150. So I was super excited to get that. And the lady was delightful. Art glass, I bought some pieces. Again, I got to do some research on artists. This is absolutely a remarkable thing. It's fused glass, and then it's signed and dated on the bottom where the pontil mark is, where they broke it off. So also look for pontil marks. Look for that right in the center where they broke it off from the cane. That's a telltale sign that you've got a handmade piece of glass. So just remember that when you're out and about. And both sides are equally as beautiful. It has an aurine surface, so it has kind of an opalized surface, but we call that aurine. And it's incredible. And it's dated, I can barely read the signature, but it's dated 1998. When people ask me what I feel are going to be the next collectibles or the next hot things, I would say they're still going to, people are still going to be consuming late 80s. Well, let's say from 1980 to 1990, 1980 to 1990 something. So I think that the items that are going to be sought after are going to be mainly from the 80s and 90s. That's just kind of where I see the trend going. Again, I don't know exactly, but that's at least my gut instinct. And I've been doing this long enough to know that I called out a lot of the fads that happen. And then, of course, with these fads or these things that come up and people are trying to get people to invest in certain things, I understand, but those kind of have a tendency to be weak and fade out. So I'll get into that again later, and it's just my opinion. So you can either trust me or not, but I'm still going to give you my opinion because I really want to encourage people. That's the only reason why. Coal art, my grandfather, my mom's dad, was a coal miner in Pennsylvania, and I collect things that are made out of coal. And there's these little toothpick holders. These were 50 cents, and they are, I love them. They're little coal barrels. So they're little barrels made out of coal, and then they're carved. And these were tourist items from Pennsylvania, and I love them. And then this one, I couldn't figure out right away what it was, and now I know exactly. So it's coal. That's what it looks like out of the ground. And then there's a table put on it, a hole drilled out, and then they inset this satin fabric, and that is a pincushion. So a sewing pincushion. So a woman would have her ability to store her pincushions, and this one had some sort of really old sticker on it. So I was delighted to get these. I was super excited. They were just not really thought of, and treasures for me. One more piece of art glass, even though there's like 2 more boxes in the kitchen that I didn't unpack or didn't get ready. And again, I have to wash all of these things and get these things all cleared up. But this is considered a paperweight glass vase, and it is absolutely beautiful. It's dated 1978. It's inscribed to Betty. So it was a gift from the artist, and the artist signature is going to be very difficult. It looks like an R, and then it might say Matthews, and it may not. There are definitely an M, an A, a T, and then a little bit of a blurry hallmark because it's hand engraved on the bottom, and then dated. So there's the date right there. Well, anyways, regardless, just an incredible, incredible end result. And look at the tonality and the red and the orange, and then this kind of netting of the most true, beautiful green, and then an opalescent in between. I think why I really loved it, I loved the size, I loved the color, I loved the form, and I loved the way the applique fit on the surface of the vase. So this artist, although I'm not sure who this is yet, I was absolutely positively in love. And it wasn't very expensive. I think it was 30 or 35. And the gentleman that I bought it from, if you're watching this, I thank you so much. You were an absolute joy. You were incredible. And it was my first encounter with you, and it was memorable and delightful. And the gentleman set up next to you, if he's watching this, you were awesome as well. I loved you both very much as soon as I met you. I don't have that connection very often with just a seller, but that was incredible. Stone wise, there was again, I'm not ready for this, but just loose gemstones. And again, I believe these are all in the Spinel family. I believe that that's exactly where they lie. One of them could potentially be Alexandrite. Again, I don't know yet, but I bought those for $100 just because I wanted to take a chance on those, and I'm sure it will pay off. And then diamond stud earrings. These are, again, the camera's for some reason really fighting with me with the light today, but these are beautiful European cut diamonds, 14 karat gold. I'll take them over to Lightbox and I'll do a part 2. Sorry for the distraction. The last two that I wanted to talk about, this umbrella, which this umbrella portion or parasol, this was in one box in a heap of things as the dealer was trying to unpack, and then this was the bottom. I have got to tell you, in terms of coral, which this is genuine coral, and that is some sort of either bamboo or a fruit wood, and burled, so there's burled wood on the handle, and then these cherries are the most realistic cherries I think I have ever seen in any depiction anywhere. And they are genuine coral. So again, those are coral. There you go. And the tonality is just incredible. The wires are steel. And then there's some sort of little piece of cork that is inset to hold the cherry onto the steel stem. Each cherry is then riveted in place into the wooden handle. And for a parasol handle, just incredible. I would have known that it was a parasol handle. I just would have known that because of my experience. But finding this, the parasol portion, again, needs to be covered in fabric. And then these two parts, you can tell the break is completely intact there. So there we go. And I was so delighted to find both parts. Very, very, very happy. The reason for the video, I'm finally there, and thank you for sticking with me, is this painting. I could probably talk about this painting for 45 minutes or longer. I'm just going to consolidate down and say this. When I was halfway through the show, technically time-wise, I walked up to a gentleman who, again, I had an instant rapport with. His name is Don. He is from Indianapolis, and I was unfamiliar with him, but he was very familiar with me. He said, "I've seen you here for years, and I know that you are very knowledgeable." And he said, I've kind of watched you and been aware of you for a long time. And he's like, "It's nice to officially meet you." So I introduced myself, told him a little bit about me, and I was looking through his booth, tons of art. So already I was overwhelmed because as an artist, I see things differently than other people. And I saw a few paintings that were of great interest. And I had my back to the rest of the people in the booth, and there was a you could tell, a very smart gentleman that walked up, and he was looking at a very small painting on a sofa. And here is the painting, by the way. I can't wait to show you. So hopefully we don't get a ton of feedback from the light. Yeah, of course we're gonna get feedback from the light. So I'll hold it this way. So this painting was on the sofa, and he was studying it, beyond studying it, beyond studying it, okay? So he was very focused on this painting. So he just absolutely loved it, and he had it in his hands. So of course, I looked over and I saw the painting, and I almost completely lost my mind. I almost came completely unseamed. When I find something truly magical or important or great or standout, I know it. I just absolutely know it. There's no denying that. I can't lie and say that's not true. So I saw this painting and my heart sank because I thought he was going to buy it. I was 99% sure he was going to buy it. And Don told him that it was $600. And I was so upset. I was trying to distract myself by looking at the other paintings, and my heart kept going back to this. And I said to myself, if the gentleman puts it down, I'm going to give him some time to walk away, physically, leave the space, because that's respectful. So he was talking to Don about it. They had a small conversation. I didn't hear much of what was being said. And I immediately, as soon as he set it down and left the booth, I gave it about 30 seconds, maybe 20 seconds. In my mind, it was probably 30 seconds. It was probably more like 2. But I went over and I picked up the painting and I asked Don, and he told me that it was him and his wife's collection. Don is 71 years old, and I told him that I really had to have the painting, so we came up with a slightly discounted rate, and I bought the painting. He said to me he felt as though it was an extremely important painting. He said in his mind that it was probably one of the most important things in that entire building over the course of the weekend. And there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of things with literally probably 300 different dealers from all over the United States. These people come in from everywhere. And I didn't disagree with him. And I have a feeling that he is correct. I have a very strong feeling about this work. Again, I don't want to get into the specifics of the frame. I don't want to get into specifics of anything. The painting is under glass, and it is this beautiful rolling waves. And I know in my heart that this artist, whoever this was at the time, knew exactly what they were going for, and a very accomplished hand. So there is the label on the back, and it's a painting on board, so that is just an artist board. And then there's the label on the back. So we've got the label there, and I'll do some research on that to find out what's going on there. I'm not exactly sure, or not 100%, that this was the original frame for this painting. As I go in closer, you can see in the waves, you can see that there are mixed colors. There's yellow, there's brown, there's tones in the actual brush strokes that are, to me, they just shouldn't be there. So this artist had some sense that they wanted other tones and other colors in the waves to reflect sunlight in a way. So there's an accomplished hand here. There are some condition issues, probably needs to be cleaned, but again, something that my intuition told me, you need that painting, you have to buy it. And here is where I'd like to leave the video just for right now. I don't want to ruin this piece by talking about it too much or giving too much of a quote lecture series, but there's something about the hand of that artist and the courageousness of the abstraction of the waves. I will update you as I found out more information on it. It's going to take some time. With an unsigned work, at least I think it's unsigned. I didn't take it out of the frame yet. Again, only had it for, I think now, 12 hours, 14 hours at most. And that's it for this video. As to the things I'm wearing, just one of my everyday rings, tiny little diamonds, a Bakelite bracelet that I got there that I still haven't taken off since I bought it. I actually put it on, the price tag's still on it. So there's the price tag, still didn't take the price tag off, and a very interesting construction. So that's kind of an unheard of clasping mechanism on the side, but really well carved, and again, beautiful. And I was so glad that it fit, because a lot of these bracelets seemingly don't fit bigger wrists. So I got lucky on that one, and just really, really nice. And then on this side is a turquoise cuff, and I could talk about this forever, and then the biggest secret is the inside. So there's the inlay work on the inside of the cuff. And again, don't be upset with me, but I'm going to wait and do a video on this cuff because I have 2 of them. And it's, to say the least, it's incredible. And it makes me extremely, extremely happy. So here I go again, getting distracted. Thank you again so much. I really appreciate your time. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday weekend. And I don't know exactly when this is going to post, but at any rate, otherwise I would say have a great day, and I would name the day. Anyways, take good care of yourselves, and as you know, I always got to leave it this way. Mwah! I love you.